About a year ago, I posted a reading 7 books in 7 days video, and I figured since it's about a year since that video came out, I'm going to re-attempt it. I think if not for YouTube videos, I don't read as much as I would like to, so this video idea kind of gives me like an excuse to read. That being said, let's get right into book number 1, which is going to be As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. I am officially on page 182, and that means I'm 40% done. I was a little worried because in the beginning, I feel like this book is almost sadder than the first 2, and so I wasn't as into it, but then I'm like, maybe like page 100, it kind of turned around for me. Things are definitely getting more and more interesting and more twisted, so I have faith that I'm gonna like this book. My favorite parts are definitely the interviews, which I did also say about book 1 and 2, but I will say book 3 has a lot less of like the podcast. Like there's no podcast yet, so there is definitely a lot more blocks of text, but the plot is interesting, so it's okay. Honey Nut Cheerios are quickly becoming my favorite reading snack. I had to go pick up dinner, but there was like no way that I was leaving this book home because I really did not expect like halfway through for it to be as intense as it is. And if you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. I cannot believe it. Well, it is officially day 2, and I did in fact finish this book yesterday. I finished at 8:30, and so I was planning on starting my second book so I could kind of get ahead, but I just did not have the energy for that. This book is 450 pages long, so I feel like it's one of the longer books I own, which makes me happy because I'm thinking that hopefully I'll get through the other ones quicker since I got the big one out of the way first. It wasn't really intentional. This just happened to be the book that I wanted to start because I just finished Good Girl, Bad Blood, which is the second book in the series. My official rating for As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson is a 4.5 stars. I gave the first 2 5 stars, but I gotta be honest, I think this one deals with like much heavier topics, and I think it's a lot more serious and not as fun. The start of this one was also a lot slower than the other 2, so I didn't really get into it like fully until about 100 pages in. And another thing that surprised me is like I feel like conflict in these books either happens at the beginning, so they have to like figure it out during the book, or it happens in like the 3rd act and then they resolve it and then it's just like happily ever after. But when I was reading this, I was thinking, okay, nothing bad can happen until about like 3/4 of the way through, but that is not the case in this book. About halfway through, some serious stuff happens, and I was surprised, needless to say. Now that I finished the series, I think I'm gonna get 5 Survive by her because I really do like her writing. That being said, day 2's book is My Grandmother Sends Her Regards and Apologizes. As you can tell, I am already a good chunk of the way through. That's because I've been reading since 8:30 this morning. I've been busy all day, and now I'm about to be busy all night. So I'm hoping I'll be able to read the last, like 120 pages before bed. Fingers crossed, that is the plan. This book hasn't given me the same feeling as Anxious People and A Man Called Ove yet, but his books really usually have like a meaningful ending, so it kind of ties everything together, which is what I'm hoping happens.
Me wind and rain, you're some kind of butterfly.
actually have some catching up to do. It is now day 6, which means that I have fully finished 5 books, so we are on track. I think the last time I left off, I was explaining that I was partway through My Grandmother Sends Her Regards and Apologizes. I did end up finishing this book before bed, and I gave it a 4 stars. I've read Anxious People and A Man Called Ove by Fredrick, Backman, and I gave Anxious People 5 stars, and then A Man Called Ove 4.5, and now this is a 4. It's kind of a bummer because I was expecting to love it a lot more because I really liked the concept. Like, I was looking for this book. It wasn't just something that I found and decided to read. The book focused a lot on like superhero fairy tale-esque stuff, which I wasn't expecting, so I feel like that's probably the part that I didn't enjoy as much. It does have a super heartfelt ending, and I definitely didn't hate it, so yeah, it's just a 4 stars for me. The next day, I started The Elite by Kiera Cass. I'm pretty sure I read the first book, which is the selection in the first Reading 7 Books in 7 Days, and I gave it 5 stars. Thankfully, the second book is also a 5 stars for me. I really enjoyed it. It's like quick paced. It has some action, it has some romance, some friendship. It's a perfect book. I did finish this whole book on day 3, and then because I was kind of on the Elite, the selection high, I decided to read The One. This is the 3rd and final book in the selection series, and honestly, this might be a record for me because I started this book in bed. I started like most of these books, like my schedule has kind of turned into start reading in bed and then come upstairs, read on the couch for a while until I'm about like halfway through the book. And so I did that with this book. So I started in bed, and then I came up to the couch, and then I stopped to have some breakfast, and then I just finished the book. So I only stopped one time to have breakfast. Other than that, I read the entire thing in one sitting. I ended up finishing this at 11:45 a.m. So before noon even, I was done my book for day 4. I also gave this one 5 stars. I didn't think I was going to. I was a little skeptical. I feel like third books are never like the best ones. The ending felt like a little bit rushed, like things got resolved very quickly, but I didn't really mind it that much because I'm not really that big of a fan of conflict, so I'm okay if it's all over. I like how everyone ended up like in love, you know? It was cute. And then for day 5, I started this book, 99 Days by, I think, Katie Cotugno. I did not finish this on day 5. I actually just finished it like 5 minutes ago. I had work last night, and so there's just so many other things for me to do that I just couldn't get to it, but it's like 10 a.m. now. I've finished it, which means I have to start another book today. This book, out of all the books that I've read, this one has me feeling the most, which is so surprising. Like, I didn't even know what this book was about. It doesn't even have like those covers because I got it from the thrift store like secondhand. The first like half of this book was perfect. Like, I was ready to say 5 stars, like the best book I've read all week. I liked the start of this book better than any other book that I've read this week. But then like 2/3 of the way through, things were not going so well. I've never really been a fan of the plot where a girl has to choose between brothers. I think it's weird. I don't even know if it happens that much in real life that we need to have such a big genre for it. But anyway, you know, I feel like as long as I can like separate it in my mind, I can still enjoy the book. But this book has absolutely no development. Like, I was like, okay, who's she gonna end up with? Like, I was excited. I wanted to know what was gonna happen. It was useless because, spoiler alert, she ends up in the same position she started in. So I wasted 300 plus pages on this because none of it even mattered. Even though I'm being harsh, I did give this a 4 stars because like the summer vibes are perfect, and I thoroughly enjoyed the first like good chunk of this book. The chapters are really short because there's 99 for the 99 days she's in this town for summer, and I love short chapters. Everything moves pretty quickly, like there's no real fluff, which is nice. I wish the ending would have changed. If the ending was different, I would have given this a 5 stars. A part of me wants to be like, okay, maybe I should read books like this, but I think if I asked for recommendations, people just recommend The Summer I Turned Pretty, and I read that, and like, it was fine. I finally thought there was gonna be a book with 2 love interests as brothers that I was actually going to enjoy, but yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is weird. I am curious about this author because I haven't really heard of any of their other books. I like the way that she wrote romance. Yeah, so maybe I'll check them out. That being said, today is day 6 and I do have work tomorrow, so I wanted to start like a short book. This book is like what, 236 pages. 236 pages, the shortest book so far. I hope to finish it before I head off to work, and then we'll only have 1 day left. Well, hello. It has been quite a few days since that last clip. I had such a busy weekend. I just like gave up on reading, and so I didn't read 7 books in 7 days. I read 5 books in 5 days, but I didn't make it all the way to the weekend. And I knew that when I recorded the intro. I'm such a liar, I know, but I didn't want to spoil the ending from the very beginning. That being said, I am just gonna title this video reading 5 books in 5 days, because like I did that just to read 7 in 7 days. I don't think reading a book a day is sustainable, but like reading so much just reminds me of like the enjoyment and the importance of reading for me. Like, I love the feeling of reading a romance novel and like actually smiling at the pages, but then I don't make time for that during like any other part of my life. I think I'm just gonna put book 6, The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight, on my bedside table, and then just read a couple pages every day. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though I didn't successfully complete what I set out to do. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.